Okay, and welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Humankind. This probably will be the last part of the run. We'll see how long it takes to finish up. We do still have lots of science coming in, so we're just going to roll through the tech tree here. In fact, if it takes much longer, we're going to win by the tech path. Upgrade all the infantry, and all the cavalry if we can. Oh, can't do all the cavalry. The cavalry is a little bit more expensive than normal because we don't have enough oil for the upgrade. That's what's going on there. Human Revolution 2! The new field of machine-human interfaces goes from strength to strength. After many tests, companies are starting to market and commercialize some enhancements. Bionic legs, augmented eyes, enhanced lungs. Without laws to regulate and subsidize these products, though, only the richest population should benefit. Should interfere with the market to aid equality. We can get defined here. We'll try to interfere to keep them from being too unequal. We don't need the colony on Mars to be a dystopian hellhole.
A human leaves footprints on the face of another celestial body. Who could have imagined it?
So we've been to the moon, and we just picked up the World Wide Web. Yeah, and the Mars colony is the next one. Trying to get all the stuff built up first, because a lot of that stuff will help with, you know, engineering component of building it. You did it! The moon! On the moon's ocean surface, your astronauts proudly plant a banner representing all of humanity's achievements. With special credit to your Empire's allies. Leaders all around the globe praise your tasteful choice. Bunch of influence. Upgrade the list of the armored vehicles. And we might end up winning by the science victory at this rate because maybe don't have the industry required to actually build the Mars victory before we do all the tax. That'll be fine. Oops. What the thieves?
Starvation? I'm afraid they've already eaten all the bread and the cake, and now the pantry seems empty.
The wild frontier. The emergence of the internet has led to an explosion of content of every hue and color. Most sites are apolitical, but some are highly political and sometimes critical of your government. The web not respecting traditional borders. Most content is impossible to police. What is your stance on public access? Consent. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like we're only going to win about 15 turns at this rate. Because we're going to get the tech victory rather than the sort of tech industry victory that is going to... Granted, if... well, I could just decide we're going to try... Yeah, we can probably get that done in 15 turns. 7 minutes for the tech victory. We could go for Mars. Okay, and that gets it done in 11. We can actually speed that up. We can just be done with the game. Down to 8. These little ones over here are probably not worth sending to the task. Sadly, interference in the market drove many investors to withdraw funding, eventually leading to many cutting-edge companies to financial ruin. Big players crippled, the whole industry became tainted, deemed too risky for mainstream business. The dream of transhumanism is dead. Shame. May have been a parallel universe where the might have been realized. Okay. Fusion reactor done, so 30% industry on city, minus 50%.
Death from starvation. It seems that these are the times that try a people's dietary habits.
There, that fixes the food problem. Oop, different life science
Starvation? I don't mean to nag, but the marks one leaves on history should not necessarily be from malnutrition.
That was the one we just fixed? Okay. There's neural implants, so bunch of bonus stability, bunch of influence. And then looking 2 turns. Okay, one way that we're either going to win via tech in 9 turns, or we'll win by getting to Mars in 2 at the current rate. I think we need food technology to at least get the Nagger a piece or something. Well, the narrator is basically like, oh, you're having food problems. It's like, yeah, all I need to do is assign the money to build the new food improvement, and then the problem's gone most of the time. So there we're done. Completed the interplanetary expedition.
A phenomenal achievement of civilization-wide ingenuity. Perspiration, collaboration, bureaucracy,
Please, well, indeed.
and a dozen
All levels of
supertankers worth
interplanetary
of
expedition.
copy.
Okay, the Red Planet. 9 short months after they left Earth forever, the spacefarers from your great empire have completed the staggering journey across the cold, dark space. The colored dark reaches of space to arrive on Mars. The team is in high spirits. The first phase, establishment of a permanent colony on the planet, proceeds well, and opportunities for discovery and enrichment are near endless. With your empire bestridden 2 worlds now, your dominance is near infruitable. The only question is, do you let history judge your reign now, or do you wish to play with your rivals some more? So we can either trigger the end of the game at the end of the next turn, or we can enjoy. Wealth and power flow from these first tentative steps, and we would be remiss not to savor them. To be fair, we know we're going to win in a couple turns anyway, so we're actually going with the enjoy option here, just because we can. Because we're going to trigger the end turn with science in, again, in 7 turns. So we'll ride out the victory here. Nope. Someplace had run low on food. Didn't get a warning for it. Let's grab you another food building before we screw up. Video nasties. With the choice of citizens' access to the internet, unfortunately, they can sometimes be exposed to harmful untruths. Now, hackers of unknown origin released a deepfake victory that purports to show you taking bribes from foreign investors. The people's faith in you can be shaken in a robust response. We'll educate them. Why are you still losing population? I just got you more food. Or is this a different one? This might be a different one. Oh, I also don't have any more options to get you food. Without building a food district. So I guess we're gonna have to build you a food district.
Whether or not the world goes hungry, with 30 farmers' quarters, this city certainly won't.
Exosuit. Has a bunch of military bonuses. One of the empires is close to victory. Yeah, I can guess that. I'm close to victory. I'm going to win in 2 turns. I will end the game in 2 turns. Thieves is having some food issues.
I'm afraid they've already eaten all the bread and the cake, and now the pantry seems empty.
It would be funny if another nation wins next turn, is what Twitch says. And yes, it would be funny, but it's not going to happen. Plus 3 city cap that we don't need, 50% more money on all cities, and space orbitals researched. End of the journey. This is your last turn. Yes, this triggers the end of the turn anyway. One of the empires has researched all the technologies. We will be remembered as mythical.
The march of human history is long. Making your place in it an even greater achievement. No other civilization has equaled your ability to leave a lasting mark on humankind. History will not remember you as a warrior, or banker, or farmer. Your fame was garnered more or less everywhere. You also gained fame from the construction of a wonder. Amazing. Congratulations on the success of your ambitions. If there is another thing you should be remembered for, it is for the green, thriving world you leave to the future.
Apparently we didn't loot the world
And
enough.
I must note the role of faith in your success. To lead a religion in an increasingly secular world is no mean feat. And though your people may have found it difficult, history is certainly impressed. You participated in the longest war. Congratulations. Under your guidance, the thrilling tale of humankind has been rewritten in your own words. There may be future adventures and deeds, an even grander scope for this grand story. Regardless, you have left a great mark and answered the question. How far will you push humankind?
The answer is to Mars. And maybe beyond. Okay, so that is the first full playthrough of Humankind I have played on stream and via recording. Apparently our best era was the contemporary era, where other nations did better in the earlier ones. So they did better in the ancient, they did better in the classical, and, well, we showed them all up in the contemporary. Where half of our fame came pretty much from the contemporary era. So that's kind of showing you... one thing I sort of misjudged, probably from difficulty and probably from some of my previous runs, is how important the early eras are, which is to say that they're important in setting up the engine that drives you forward in the game, but not necessarily from a fame standpoint. So one thing I need to be, maybe the next time we play, a little less paranoid about is being behind everyone right at the beginning. The AI in particular are very quick off the starting blocks, but they generally don't get quite such a good engine going. That's kind of what we saw in this run, sort of an action commenting here. Is, I think for the... We weren't necessarily that late coming out in the Neolithic, but definitely the AI took off quicker in the Bronze Age. But once we caught up to them, we just went shooting right past them. That's what I think ended up happening. shows 3 stars there, but there's only the 1 tier on each of the stars. It's going through and showing us where we got all our stars. And yeah, I did tend to try to swap between stuff as we went along. So it was industry, commerce, food, because we were actually a little bit struggling with food in early modern, before early modern, so we swapped to food to early modern. And then we did science for the last 2. Okay, we're not going to watch everyone else's, we're going to skip. So yeah, you can see fame. It's going to be hard to see back here in the beginning, right? We started off... Okay, we actually got off pretty decently in the Neolithic. We did delay because we were waiting for our city spot to be ready. The AI got off to an early lead. And then late Bronze era, we finally overtook them, and then we just... It was mostly smooth sailing. We weren't really far ahead of them until we left the Iron Age. We're in the medieval era. Alright, so once we were in the properly going in the medieval era, then we started the process of just taking off and running off without them. And yeah. So, largest ideology was our individualism, apparently. We were sort of the cultural dominant here, this game. Food, yeah, you can see the food takes off. That's how we're feeding people. Industry. Money. See, era... Actually, surprisingly, like, Era 2 was our... We began to do money in Era 2. Era 3 is when it really just took off. Oh, this is showing what's in the bank, right? Oh, actually, no, this might be production, not what's in the bank. Science. We really swapped over the science in the 5th era, which is... we didn't actually have very much more science than them, and then we had a lot more science than them. Influence. Some of our stuff, I think, was coming from our food people. Stability was all up and down, and then near the end we were rock steady. Population. Again, sort of an after-action report standpoint, I think we definitely... I was overly paranoid about being behind the AI, which is something I'll have to remember next time I'm doing a higher difficulty. The next time we play this, we'll turn the difficulty up probably 2 rungs. And then I'll have to remind myself as I'm panicking in the Bronze Era that the focus is on getting the economy going, not on racing the AI, because the AI is going to outrun us early on. So that's another category where we kind of outdid the AI, is in religion, which is maybe not surprising because the AI does religion a little bit better the higher the difficulty you put them on. And then research, again, actually, you can actually see they held on a little bit better with research than a lot of other things. Although once we got into the 3rd era, we just started to take off and leaving them behind. We weren't able to catch up there. Trade. Wasn't very much trade until there was. When we were trying to do commerce stuff in Era 2 and 3, I wasn't really doing any trade. And then once we got into Era 4, when we were switching over to farming, it's like, okay, I've got money coming in, let me spend that on upgrading the trade. Military. Okay, so this is maybe one of the reasons why I got off pretty light from the enemy, is on this low difficulty, we were able to stay sort of military parity with people the entire time. I guess this is probably number of units, right? So we had one bit where we had our units destroyed, but otherwise we basically didn't lose units most of the time. And then yeah, so they got off to a little bit of an earlier start with getting their city going. Got 1 city, got 2 city, and then I think the 2nd city coming online is really what sent us flying in comparison to the AI. All the AIs apparently were still running on 1 city. They're running on like 1 city and a lot of territories. I had 1 city, and not just 1 city, but I was also attaching the territories to the city. And this is the map. You can zoom out. So this is basically, I think technically we may have started like down here-ish. Found what I think was a good spot up here relatively early on. Then we ended up putting our first outpost there. Our second outpost was over here, and sort of taking bit by bit more and more stuff. So this is the first city, second city. This was not a city we founded, but rather this is one of the barbarian or minor cities that we converted to assimilated into us. This is one we actually took via war. I forget who we took it off of. I think it was actually the Zembia here
Friend,
that we took it off
you
of.
are
And then a later war against the purple here. We ended up subjugating them. And then we never really had to get into a war with Brown, Agamemnon. And then obviously, as we expanded those territories, expanded those cities, we just grabbed all the empty territory in our section of the map. And that worked pretty well. So yeah, at some point in the future, we'll have to do another run of this. I think this run went really well, but I'm not sure how much of that is having the difficulty too low and my actual skill at the game. I was still definitely very rusty on a lot of things, and we're like, oh, I think this is going to work this way, and it didn't quite work that way. And there was at least one situation where I got my cavalry tied up in a city assault, which was definitely not the place to bring them. But yeah, everything in the end I think worked out in this run, so we won, unsurprisingly. And we won by a lot, right? I think we've got twice, almost 3 times more fame than everyone else. If we turn the difficulty up, we probably won't get away with quite such an excessive victory. But that is the run here. If you're watching on YouTube, this was a fairly short part, so I'm going to put a part of Endless Legends up on the channel as well today for basically this time slot, so you'll get a double header. If you're watching on Twitch, I'm going to bring the stream down so I can change the description and stuff like that and sort of break it up into 2 videos. The stream will basically come back up as soon as I've got Endless Legends launched and a new cup of tea, because my cup of tea is empty. So, until next time, I'm going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.